Hello, my name is Michele, and you're listening to Profit is a Choice. If you're following along with my newsletter challenges, then you're working to determine what's critical for you and your team to complete this year. And by the way, if you don't get my newsletter, go to scarletthreadconsulting.com and sign up, or you can download any of my free offerings and you'll get on my newsletter list. So as you're focusing on what's really critical, you may be looking at a task list that's longer than your calendar has months left in the year. Today, we're going to talk about fitting your business into your life instead of your life into your business. And I hope you find some great takeaways to lighten the load. Every day, empowered entrepreneurs are taking ownership of their company financial health and enjoying the rewards of reduced stress and more creativity. With my background as a financial software developer, owner of multiple businesses in the interior design industry, educator, and speaker, I coach women in the interior design industry to increase their profits, regain ownership of their bottom line, and to have fun again in their business. Welcome to Profit is a Choice. If you're like me, your task list grows daily from either new clients, new ideas, or work that is piled up over time. Welcome to business ownership. Kind of like home ownership, we're never really done. And while I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, I have found some success in scheduling and managing my time to allow me to live the life I want while running the business that I desire. And this is always a work in progress, but I thought I would share with you how I do this. You'll be able to hear this theme in many of my podcast episodes where my guests talk about living the life that they want. You know, what I find interesting, though, is that we start our business to live the life we desire and quickly find that we're always working and not living. So how do we keep that tension between the two in a very safe place? I know, like many of you, I love what I do, and it often doesn't even feel like work to me. It feels like creativity or expression. And I love assisting and helping people, and my creative mind never turns off. And if I'm not careful, I can work and create myself into an exhaustion or an exhausted period. And I know because I have done this many times over my 21 years of business ownership, all while working for the greater good of my clients and at the expense of my sanity and health. With that, I will tell you that really taking some time to know what it is you want to do in your life and what it is you want to do in your business is always work that is super helpful before you begin what we're going to look at today. And so now what I want to do is just share with you 3 strategies that have helped me gain greater control of my life and of my business. So the first one is block off all personal time on my calendar as I know it. This seems so simple, but I can't tell you how many times I hear people that haven't done it. I even heard somebody the other day said, 6 months ago, we scheduled our vacation and I knew when it was, but I didn't put it on the calendar and somebody else on the team chose the same week. Being really just forthright with this is the time that you know that you need or you're going to take off can be so helpful. At the beginning of each year, I go to my work calendar. Actually, I have a couple of calendars. I've got a Google Calendar that's my personal calendar. I have one that's work. I have one that's for clients. And then I have them all kind of overlaid on top of each other so I can see all the different areas. And I go there to my personal calendar / business calendar, however you want to do it. I mark off every day I want to take off, no matter the reason. Like I don't sit and have a conversation, should I or shouldn't I? I just put every single day I want to take off on that calendar. And this year it was a lot for me. My son got married. And so that meant that I had to take off time to travel for wedding showers. We hosted one in our home. Some other people gave it, but because of where we're located, we had to do it in our home. So I had to have time off for that. Then I had time off for the wedding, before the wedding, after the wedding to recoup and to rest and to get everybody back where they needed to be. I also went ahead and took off time for my birthday, our anniversary, my husband's birthday, our summer vacation, a couple of weekend trips, doctor's appointments that I had to go to. Anything that I knew that I needed to take off from my home or my family, I went ahead and put it on my calendar. Then, as an ongoing effort, I always review my monthly calendar, of course, at the beginning of each month and add in anything new that I know. As soon as I know that I'm going to take time off or need some time away, I put it on my calendar. So I don't even wait to the beginning of the month. That's just a review time. And what this does is allows me to get my life scheduled first. And by connecting my personal calendar with my work calendar in Google, I can always see on my phone or computer what I need to work around. The second thing is I identify what's important to me in my life and create space for it. I can remember when I was working nonstop to make the holiday cutoff for my clients when I was making custom draperies, and it seemed my fall holidays were non-existent. I was stressed out. I neglected celebrations with my family. I ignored invitations to do all the holiday things so that I could work crazy hours. And I'm not even kidding when I tell you that I wore a necklace with the words joy around my neck and bracelets with the words love, kindness, and peace, so that somehow I could make myself feel these things. Every year I would pull out that joy necklace and my fruit of the spirit bracelets because I didn't feel it. And what it really did, if I am going to be so transparent with you, it made me hate the holidays that I loved so dearly. It made me hate that busy hurriedness, that expectation, and to the point of just, I ended up with a sinus infection or bronchitis or just ill every single holiday season because I was just killing myself to get things done. And I had not created the space in my own life to have love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, all those things show up as a natural byproduct. My husband asked me one time, he's like, why do you schedule so much for work during the busiest season of our lives? And I had done it more than 1 year. I'm just really sad to say that I didn't learn the first year. And, I did it because I allowed the idea that I needed to do everything for everybody else before my own family to get into the way. I had not put our family things on the calendar, and I just kept booking on top of it. Eventually, I was able to identify, I don't want to live my life that way. And what is it going to take for me to put my life back together around the holidays? And then I started moving up my, if you need it by the holidays, you got to have it done or in by this date. And, originally, I think the date started like October 1st. And before long, based on the amount of work that was coming in, I was by August 15th if you wanted it by the holidays. And this was, 10 years ago. But what that did was it allowed me to schedule the work that I could handle to still have the life that I wanted. And so I really had to stand back and understand that I didn't want my holidays to be dreaded. I wanted my holidays to be celebrated. And so what's important in your life? Maybe it's not just around the holidays. Maybe it's your birthday. Maybe it's just a random day. What's important? Make space for those things. Could it be travel or cooking, relaxing, reading a book, serving others outside of work? Whatever it is, it doesn't happen consistently by accident. We have to make a plan for it. The third strategy that I used was to kind of create boundaries around my work and life. I just gave you an example of identifying what was important for me and creating space. But in creating that space, I also had to create a boundary. And that boundary was I was not going to spend my holidays killing myself for somebody's fourth home. It wasn't worth it. And so I had to decide what was important and then put those boundaries. And the boundary then became, if you don't have it in by August 15th, it's not going to get done, or I can't make a promise. I really had some very lax boundaries around my business and have had to learn over the years how to create those boundaries. And boundaries aren't bad. It's not that I'm doing it to be punitive or to punish anybody. I'm doing it to protect. I'm doing it to protect me, my team, our family, our health, and the product and the service that we put out. Having those boundaries allows me to do things in a better way than in a hurried, frenetic, frantic, get it done kind of way. In the past, I would let window treatments or the demands for other people take up all the time that I had and then not even have a celebration with my own family. And hear me, this wasn't their fault. It was mine. Often I said yes when I should have said no. I learned to create boundaries around work and life, and my life was scheduled. And then I scheduled my work, and it allowed me to fit it into work, right? To fit my work into my life, not my life into my work. Make no mistake, I saved a lot of time for work. I did not have some crazy idea that I was going to make millions by working 2 hours a week. But I also didn't think that I could have time for my family if I worked 7 days a week. There has to be a balance, and it can be different for each of us in each phase or stage of our life. In episode 142, I mentioned taking my business on vacation. And if you heard that one, you might remember the promise that I made to my husband. It was this: if he didn't go on vacation with me and my business, I wouldn't take my business on our family vacation with the two of us. He agreed, and I held to my promise. I didn't work at all on my vacation. This separation was planned and plotted. Creating healthy boundaries around business and life have made a huge impact on my ability to be present when I'm with both. When my sons were younger and I was working, they knew when I was working, and they didn't interrupt me very often. We had boundaries around that. It wasn't that I wasn't available, but they knew, like if I was on the phone, certainly they were old enough to recognize not to interrupt that. They just knew because I taught them and I separated it. But I also learned, if you heard the maybe on the episode where I talked to the boys, I'd had a really bad moment that I'm not proud of, where I went to a soccer game, totally missed Harrison's play. He asked me what I thought about it, and I had to be honest and tell him I didn't see it. I had my head down. I was working. And he said to me then, he's like, I would rather you not be here than to be here physically and not see it. And that shifted me. That just, I was like, no more, I'm not doing that again. And so those boundaries came up hard and clear, so that when I was with the kids and with my husband and with our family, I tried to be with them, not half in and half out. Consider which boundaries you need to be able to live well and run your business well. While I wish I could tell you I learned these lessons early on in my business and overnight, I didn't. The strategies that I just shared with you to block off personal time on your calendar as soon as you know it, to identify what's important in your life and create space for it, and to set boundaries around work and life, those strategies have been hard fought for, and they continue to be a fight. Now that we're empty nesters, I find working longer hours is easier, and that's not always better. There's no one running in from the school bus to get my attention. No one's begging for a snack or dinner on the table. It's easier to actually get lost in my office behind my very two large computer screens. I've even started putting lunch as an appointment on my calendar every single day, because if I don't, it is easy to fill that time working with and for someone else. But my health needs to be considered as part of living a great life, and that means time to eat and time to rest. I use time blocking and time chunking to manage my business calendar, and that's a topic for another day. But I will say the more organized I can be with my time and efforts at work, the more time I can have to schedule for my life. If you have team members, encourage them to let you know all their desired time off early on in the year. The sooner, the better. Put it on a calendar and then use that to manage the work and projects around the calendar. As you focus on what's critical to your year to end it well, take into account how you want to live your life these next 3 months. Do you want to be stressed out and cramming everything in, or do you want to work with ease? Be honest about the life you want and the business you want. Fit your business into your life if you can at all, and not your life into your business. You can also check out the 7-figure case study on my website at scarletthreadconsulting.com. And you can see how we made tweaks for Lauren that paid off with huge dividends. You can do this too. Build profitable structures into your life, because profit doesn't happen by accident. Profit is a Choice is proud to be part of the designnetwork.org, where you can discover more design media reaching creative listeners. Thanks for listening, and stay creative and business minded.